Mimetic Desire. What the hell is that, Jason? Well, we're going to get into a little bit of anthropology, psychology, and sociology today. And I wanted to look at a French philosopher named René Girard. I'm probably pronouncing his name wrong since he is French, but this is really cool. It's a process of imitating the desires of others, particularly when it comes to aspirations and ambitions. So what I want to delve into is the connection between mimetic desire and leadership, and how we can understand this concept, through this anthropology and psychology and sociology, so that we can see exactly what is happening, not only to those that we lead, but also in our minds as we're processing information about how we fit in. And then I think, here's the thing that I think is going to inspire you in it. Whenever you begin to understand human instinct, then you can not judge someone. I mean, when you can understand it on a spiritual concept, like they're not conscious or they're conscious or they're just operated by their ego. But, if you don't want to get into that and you're not very spiritual and that's not a thing for you, you can understand evolutionary psychology and human instinct. And it helps over millions of years how individuals formed relationship. How did we specifically, get this, learn from one another? And how did we, as humans, amazingly adapt to any environment that we were put in? And I think more than anything, proven, especially in evolution, that we are a social species. We have a strong need to belong and fit in. And that leads us, and this is what we're going to get into today, to imitate the behaviors, values, and desires that we admire most. Let me break this down. If you feel like you're part of a tribe, and this is 10,000 years ago, and you feel like you're part of a tribe, what is that tribe's behaviors, values, and desires? Let's take Vikings. I just watched a Viking show, a good one on Netflix. What's their behaviors? They're a warring society. They have a specific religion. They go on boats. They raid, villages and take over and expand their kingdom. That's their behavior. So boys are trained to be warriors, and women too. And, the whole behavior that they act is based off of their values and desires. And those desires come from those values. And so they may have a flag. They have a lot of symbolism and religious symbolism. How many times do we go to war with religious symbolism on our shields or whatever, on the flags on our boats, whatever it may be? This is human behavior. This is us being a social species. Now, this can be both a blessing and a curse, because it can lead to growth and progress. And I'm bringing this back into you as a leader, but it's also can create unhealthy competition and envy. So get the dichotomy there, growth and progress through these desire, values, and behaviors. We have that side that we can tap into, but we also have the unhealthy side, and that's competition and envy, and they go hand in hand. So let's get into leadership and mimetic desire. At its core, leadership is about, and we know this, influencing others. It's as simple as that. And we want to influence others to achieve a common goal. And a great leader can motivate, inspire, and guide others to strive for greatness. And so by understanding the power of mimetic desires, we as leaders can harness this natural instinct that is in our species, this natural instinct to create a positive and productive environment. This is why being a learning leader, like learning constantly and understanding these things, because it helps you. Because if you get blindsided by somebody, you'd be like, oh, that's just them acting in their ego. They're just imitating this person. Oh, I've got a mob group. I've got 3 people that are mad at me and they want to try to get rid of me. Oh, well, that's just them being tribal, blah, 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 blah. This is common. This happens for tens of thousands of years. So you specifically taking 100% responsibility as a leader, how can you look at this as a leader and say, the mimetic desire and myself, what can I do to make it a positive and productive environment? Well, number one is lead by example. The most effective way to use mimetic desire in leadership is to lead by example. When leaders display the qualities they wish to see in their team, such as determination, empathy, hard work, inspiring those that are around them, all of those behaviors, if they get inspired by you, they're going to adopt your behaviors. This is what I'm talking about. This is how it works. So not only does that foster a positive work culture, but it contributes to the success of the whole organization. So you have the ability, by leading by example, doing the things that you know, and I'm talking in a macro sense, not in I'm going to do all their jobs and show them how badass I am. That's a problem. Leaders tend to do this all the time, but you can't do 100 jobs at once because you need to devote at least 40 hours into each one. So you're like, oh, they're horrible. They're not doing this. They're not doing a great job. I'm going to show them. That's wrong. You got to stay in the macro here. I'm going to show them by me working hard. And I want them to always see that I'm working hard. I'm going to show them by being honest and transparent with them. I'm going to show them by leading them, by coaching, having a diplomatic process in place, decentralized leadership where everybody leads. This is how leading by example happens. You can also cultivate a culture of growth and collaboration. Now, you're going to have the unhealthy side of this, like I said before, which is competition and rivalry. But to prevent this, leaders should emphasize the importance of growth and collaboration over competition. And you need to talk about this in coaching because envy is a real thing. We see this over and over again, especially in your sales department. One salesperson is kicking ass for the month. Everybody envies him secretly. They may not admit it, but they may have bad things that they're saying about him. You can see the envy being played out. So how do you as a leader put growth and collaboration in there instead of envy? You have to speak to it. When you have coaching, if you hear one guy that's just running around being envious of the sales guy, you bring him in, you coach him. You don't let him know that. You just start coaching him. Hey, how's your month going? Wanted to kind of have our coaching session. And then you're like a mind reader. You come out like this. You say it like this. You know, Bill, a lot of times, and I can know, and you use yourself, this really works, lead by example. Bill, one of the things that I had a problem with in sales, and it caused me not to be as successful as I should be, is because I envied others. And here's how I would envy other people. I would have a salesperson be successful. They may not have been successful for 6 months, and then they would have one good month, and I would get angry. And I'd run around and tell everybody how, and then say, what do you think some of the things that you do? Now you're going to ask a question, it's coaching. What are some of the things that you think that you do by being envious of others? And then they're going to talk. If you've been coaching them, they'll be open about it. You could say, what else? And what else? And then from there, you can do this. This is really cool. How do you think that you could not be an ego, that fight or flight mind, but you could be, in a productive mindset, whether it be with your higher self or whatever it may be? How do you think that you could stop that? So you're letting them come up with this. You see this? This is teaching growth and collaboration. And what I would do is even go farther and take their bullet points. I write them down. I have a notepad in front of me because I don't have my email on. When I do coaching, it's the most important thing. There's a fire in the building, I'll leave. Other than that, no one disturbs me. Coaching session in process, it's the number one thing I do. So there is no disturbances, period. So I when they're talking, I'm writing. And I repeat the bullet points back to them. Oh, okay. So in envy, you think that you could not get hung up by, like you said, like just focusing on them and getting angry because your month's going bad. And so what do you think specifically you could do, like on a daily basis, that would help you with that? Now you're making somebody better. Do you see why coaching is so important? You're making that person a better human. And you're showing them and enlightening them on what their ego is doing. They may be unconscious to that. This drives collective progress in your team. So you can also, I want to get into this, identify and encourage positive role models. Leaders can capitalize on the influence of mimetic desire by identifying and encouraging positive role models within their team. If somebody does something well, here's what's going to happen. We praise off of performance. Get this. We praise off of performance. We never praise off of moralistically doing something right in service to others, especially if it's employee number one and then number two, a customer. If somebody does something that is moralistically right, and, atheists have morals too. Everybody has morals. Whatever your morals are, you need to decide that. Nordstrom has that famous case of where they empower their employees. And they have the famous case where somebody brought in a tire and they had the power to go ahead and exchange it for the tire. There's a long story, and you should look that up. Nordstrom's customer service is success. People shop there, as myself. I shop there. Nordstrom Rack, I shop there, and I'm loyal to them because their customer service is amazing. And you may not see that in Nordstrom Rack, but you'll see that when you go to a Nordstrom. But these role models can serve as examples for others. You need to bring that out. Not, hey, you did 15 sales this month. Congratulations. Badass. Let's all give a hand. No, you tell a story about what they accomplished, and then you have them speak about it. Bill, that was amazing what you did with that customer. I heard it. The customer sent us a 5-star review on Google and said how badass you were. Why don't you share the story with us? See how that goes? Now you're putting a role model that's out there that serves as an example for others. Now you're tapping into evolutionary psychology. It serves to emulate, and it creates a ripple effect of positive behaviors and attitudes. Think about that. When you're in that meeting and he's speaking, not you, but he is speaking and sharing that story, it's creating a ripple effect of positive behaviors and attitudes. So when you acknowledge and reward those individuals and those leaders, you're reinforcing the importance of adopting these desirable qualities that we have for our organization. This is so important, guys. Next is address negative patterns and behaviors. Mimetic desires can sometimes lead to the spread. It's like a freaking virus can spread to the spread of negative behaviors and attitudes. Leaders must be proactive. You've got to be proactive in addressing these issues. And you can do this by being coaching. You remember Columbo? Some of you don't remember the show. I encourage you, watch an old Columbo show. It's kind of cheesy now, but he kind of plays dumb and asks a bunch of questions. And then lets kind of the criminal, they kind of reveal themselves. So it's like a murder mystery. So a murder happens, and then Columbo, the detective he kind of looks unassuming. He just kind of like almost as friendly. And he asks people kind of dumb questions. And then they kind of just stumble over themselves and then admit it. And then he catches the criminal. That's the same way with coaching. You don't have to say, Susan, I need you in my office right now. I've been hearing this. Don't do that. That's not coaching. That's being a dictator. How do you address these issues? Because you don't want them becoming ingrained in the team culture. So you have to openly discuss through coaching the behaviors and provide constructive feedback. And then that creates organic health and creates positive patterns in the organization. If you do coaching enough, you're going to have employees want to talk to you and open up to you about problems that they're having. That's why coaching is so important. And I harp on it over and over and over again, because when you get to a point where coaching is working, that's when you'll be like, Jim's going to come in. Hey, boss, can I schedule some time on your calendar today? I need to talk to you about a problem I'm having. Sure. And if I'm not that busy, I'll say, let's do it right now. I'll take 10, 15 minutes. I'll clear my schedule, cut my phone off, take my notepad out. It's coaching time. I'm ready. I want to address this and be proactive right now. He says, you know what? I've kind of had a really bad attitude here lately. And you'll have employees tell you this. They'll be open with you. Why? Because they need help. They don't understand. They need you as a leader to guide them through this. Well, what kind of bad attitude have you been having? Well, I've been really upset with the team and not been a very good team player. And I feel like I just feel guilty about it. Okay. So there's guilt. Why do you feel like you're being guilty? See, I'm asking questions. Well, because I know I'm not like giving 100%, because I'm just getting, like, in the meetings, I'm getting angry. When we have the Zoom calls, I get a little frustrated. What are you getting frustrated at? See, I'm asking a question. What are you getting frustrated at? Well, there's two people on the team that just they don't seem like they don't care. I don't say, well, who is that? And I'll talk to them. No, not at all. I may talk to the team leader after this, and that gives me another opportunity to be proactive and coach the team leader. See how this works? So what do you think? And I'll ask them this. How do you think that you can solve this? Like, where do you feel like you could be your best self in this environment? They're going to give their answers. They're going to be like, well, I shouldn't get so upset, but I don't know how to stop the emotion. Okay, well, to be honest with you, I'll use Bill. To be honest with you, Bill, you know that you can only control you. And the work that you produce and the work that you do affects the team when you're at 100, when you're not at 100%. You need to claim full responsibility and be the example to those others. And I would also go to your team leader and have this same conversation with them. I appreciate you coming to me. See, I don't mind when people, because I'm not using it like, I'm not going to use that information to the team leader. And my team leader better not get upset that this jumping command and all that stuff. It just shows me the team leader's not as proactive, and I can do coaching with them, but I'm not going to get upset at him. I'm going to be like, hey, looks like we've got a few issues in your team, and I want to have a conversation with you on it. Team leader's like, what's happening? I haven't heard of any of this. Like, they're going to feel blindsided. It's like, no. And Teresa, I don't want you to feel blindsided. I've had a couple situations I've heard about, and I don't know if it's a problem or not, but we need to be proactive. So let's work on this. So I want you to go do some investigation with your team, kind of find out what's going on, and then come back to me and let me know what you find out. I don't say shit about anything that anybody said. I need him to be a leader and go find that information. I'm just putting him on the case. And I'm not going to tell him about the case or who said what or do any of that gossiping. Not going to do that at all. We openly discuss things. Even to the point, I've had meetings where we openly discuss things, and I love this. Even if it gets uncomfortable, it's great. If a couple of people raise their voice, we talk about it. Openly discuss the behaviors. Constructive feedback through coaching, not telling, through coaching, asking questions is the way to solve this. So let's end with this. Mimetic Desire is a powerful force that can significantly impact the dynamics within a team or organization. If you can harness its potentials, you will inspire and motivate your team. If you lead by example, you cultivate a culture of growth and collaboration, identify and encourage positive role models, and address negative patterns, you're going to create a successful environment.
Thank you for joining us on the Albuquerque Business Podcast. And thanks to our sponsor, RigbyDigital.com. Make sure to subscribe and share. And go to abqpodcast.com. Get show notes, resources, and links to everything we talked about today to help you navigate your journey as an entrepreneur and business owner.